So here we are in the Straits of Malacca, catching fish in a... Whoa! Jeez Louise, did you see that? Good afternoon. I've got a good backdrop for this video because we've got a thunderstorm and hopefully going to catch some fish as well. But it's a challenging backdrop of low private EV sales hitting EV charging firms, according to Autocar. Major charging firms face uncertainty as the zero emission vehicle mandate review brings a potentially bleak future, writes John Evans on the 24th of February 2025. One of the UK's largest charger companies is facing a fight for its future after the slowdown in EV take-up wiped more than £10 million from its market value overnight. On the release of its 2024 results, which revealed a £7 million shortfall on its revenue target of £60 million, Pod Point's share price fell 41%. The EDF-owned company, which has installed 250,000 chargers since 2009, blamed its downbeat forecast on the UK government's recently launched zero emission vehicle mandate review, saying this is causing uncertainty and worsening an already challenging backdrop. The whole rest of the world is laughing at Britain right now, not just because of our immigration policy and the fact that we're paying for all of these people to be here, but because of net zero and our quest for net zero. I have a graph which I can show you that shows who's producing the most carbon and where Britain is on it. And even if Britain got rid of every single human being on the island, all of them, every single one, and therefore stopped all the cars from moving and all the factories, it still won't make any difference. So that's basically where we're at. We are the laughingstock of the world. Let's carry on with the article. CEO Melanie Lane said that although Pod Point achieved a lot in 2024 against a difficult market backdrop, by difficult market backdrop, what she means is the economy is knackered, everybody is poor, and nobody wants to buy EVs anymore. She continued, "We made good progress on our costs, but weaker than expected private EV market has negatively impacted revenues." Let's look at that again. The weaker than expected private EV market. Private EV market, okay? So not corporations, not companies, and not Motability. Because if you take Motability out of the frame and you take company cars out of the frame, there's basically no EVs selling at all. But also what's really interesting here, she says, weaker than expected private EV market. But what about all these second-hand EVs that keep popping up on Auto Trader? Is nobody buying those? Because you'd think that when you bought an EV second-hand, you'd then go, oh, I need to have a charger installed. So you would expect, because we've now got all of these ex-lease, ex-company, ex-Motability EVs coming onto the private market, you would think that people selling charger installs would be doing really, really well. And that would be in line with what all the pro-EV media keep talking about when they say that sales are up. But no, in actual fact, like what I've been saying, and the McMaster, and EV Carnage, and M Guy, and John Cardigan, right, what we've all been saying is that these EVs are not selling in the second-hand market, and Pod Point have just confirmed it because they aren't selling enough to people who are buying second-hand cars. So no one's buying a second-hand car and then going, oh, I need a charger installed. It's not happening. Pod Point's troubles shed light on some of the key challenges shared by all parts of the EV market as it feels its way towards 2030, by which date 80% of car manufacturers' total sales in the UK must be electric, up from 28% in 2025. So, will we carry on with the mandate? Has industry finally woken up and been able to tell the government what's what? We will see. That's a good one. Like designing and building EVs, developing EV infrastructure costs a lot of money, and investment plans are hit by any slowdown in demand. No charging operators are making a profit today, says Ben Fritsch, head of growth at Connected Curb. We're all investing to meet future demand that may not materialise, that's the thing. Connected Curb installs chargers in areas where driveways are a rarity, but the population is large enough to justify an investment. Pod Point, meanwhile, installs chargers at homes and workplaces. They're two very different businesses, but both are spending big in expectation of bigger times ahead. If EVs were selling at the same rate that all of the EV people tell us that they're selling, these companies would be doing really, really well, because lots of people would be buying second-hand EVs and looking to install chargers or indeed curb chargers somewhere around their property, but they're not because nobody's buying them. Barry Crampton posted today, I think there's 32,000 EVs for sale on Auto Trader right now. It's obviously the end of February, which means tomorrow, April the 1st, should we just skip March? We might as well just skip straight through March, haven't we? Tomorrow is March the 1st, and that means that a whole bunch of pre-registered cars are probably going to appear on Auto Trader tomorrow because they're not selling, they're only being pre-registered. We doubled our charging network last year from 3,500 sockets to 6,200, so we're capital hungry, explained Fritsch. The government announced that Connected Curb, which has 100,000 subscribers, will be given 55 million from the National Wealth Fund. A further 10 million will come from Aviva investors. The National Wealth Fund. That's national wealth, right? Doesn't that mean it's for everyone? But the government says no. The national £55 million from the National Wealth Fund is going to be given to people who can afford to have electric cars, who haven't got anywhere to... It's just insane, isn't it? Look, you can't even make that make sense. Of the 9,000 chargers that Connected Curb has installed so far, 6,000 are operational. Did it get you? Are you all right? Huh? I was just checking you haven't been hit by lightning. 6,000 are operational, while under 3,000 are dormant. Some of these ready to go live when demand justifies it, and others waiting for power to become available. Hang on a minute. They've been given £55 million for 9,000 chargers. Let me do some really quick maths, right? No, it's just really good thunder, right? 55 million, 55, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, divided by 9,000. That's £6,000 per Connected Curb charging point that they've already got, and only 6,000 of them are in action anyway. So basically, just once again, it's just a scam, innit? The whole net zero thing is a scam, and it's different people getting money for different things. Another charging company doing likewise is InstaVolt, Lee's favourite. Familiar at service stations from its growing network of hubs. Its next, which is 44 chargers, will open at Winchester in March. Lee, get yourself down to Winchester, mate. InstaVolt develops, installs and operates ultra-rapid charging stations. We're a profitable business, investing millions every year, all of it private money, said CEO Delvin Lane. This year and next, we'll invest £70 million. He's confident that this will be money well spent, saying we're at a tipping point. EV registrations are increasing at the expense of petrol and diesel cars. You couldn't be more wrong. EV registrations are increasing because dealers are desperate to make it look like they're selling cars, and the reason it looks like EV cars are selling over petrol and diesel cars is because people are not buying the petrol and diesel cars. They're saying, do you know what, I can't be asked to go down to the dealership and buy a new car. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick with my old one for a bit longer. So a petrol and diesel car doesn't get sold, an EV car gets registered instead, which makes the figures look like EVs are doing really well, when in actual fact it's just consumers sitting on their hands. Nevertheless, Lane believes there's more the government can do to help accelerate EV uptake. He said the government could actually go around people's houses and slap them in the face until they buy an EV, because everything else they've tried hasn't worked, so maybe they should try that. He didn't say any of that, I made that up. Echoing the demands from UK lobby groups such as the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders, Lane said, we want VAT parity between home and public charging, so a flat 5%. Why is the Society of Motor Manufacturers helping to lobby on behalf of EVs when it's EVs that are destroying the motor manufacturers? Do you get the impression that they're all in on it together? Lane continued, better coordination with local planning authorities will help speed up the development of new charging sites. Clearer signage on motorways, the laws around signage are archaic, will give drivers confidence that the charging network is here and growing. For companies like Podpoint, Connected Curb and InstaVolt, faced with making a big investment decisions in the coming years, such confidence is going to be crucial. So there you have it. No fish, lots of thunder, lots of lightning. You've seen the big one, have you? All right, I'll come and try and film it for the end of the video. But that's just it, isn't it? That's just it. So all the companies that are around, I need to sit down. All the companies that have set up around the EV industry, so your charging companies, your install companies and all that, they should be doing incredibly well. It's the same thing that we're seeing in cycling. So with all the cycle lanes that have gone in, you would think that the bicycling industry would be in a massive period of growth because so many people are adopting to cycle instead of to drive. But in actual fact, what we're seeing is the complete opposite. The cycling industry is on its arse because The demand isn't there for the services that they offer. The same thing is going on in EVs. Stick with your petrol car, stick with your diesel car. It won't cause you any problems. Right, let's go see if he's caught any fish. Winding up our stay now. We will be back in the UK fairly soon. Today we visited the Proton factory, which was really cool because I was essentially treated like a VIP, which was a really bizarre experience. And they did lots of interviews with me and asked me lots of questions and asked me to drive one of their cars. So I did. They asked me about electric cars as well, but you'll see that on the video because I was dead honest. She said to me, what do you think of electric cars, because we're launching an electric Proton? And I said, I think the best thing that you could do is stick to small cars that are cheap to buy, economical, not too bad for the planet, and that last, because that's a better way to save the planet than collaborating with China and then shipping stuff over on great big ships that need oodles of expensive and very harmful heavy oil. I don't think that was quite the response that she was perhaps hoping for, but that's the truth, isn't it? So here we are in the Straits of Malacca, catching fish in a... Whoa! Jeez Louise, did you see that? Did you see that? I think I caught that on camera. I think we should go back inside. Definitely don't be waggling around that fishing rod. Come inside and we'll look at that on the computer. Right, thanks everybody for watching.